they were not really engaged readers. And so we were working on reading some material that they had chosen, but that was a little bit beyond their reading level. And I started using Accountable Talk with them to help them decipher this text and think about how to read this text and how to solve some of their problems. And the interesting thing about it, that I call a major success, is that by the end, they were asking themselves the same questions using Accountable Talk. So to hear some of my young boys say, "Can you clarify that for me? Can you explain why you're thinking about that way?" And what I hear you saying is, it was very, very useful to them and to me, and it's been some PD that has made me very excited to go to work in the morning. Anyway, thank you.
Well, of course I'm the one doing the talking. If that's what they pay me to do, I'm good at it. And quite often I found that class discussions were the most painful, least efficient way of getting the day's business done. That day's business being covering the material. But the insight that the person talking is the person thinking really rung my bell. And when I began to experiment with Accountable Talk techniques, I discovered very quickly that students are hungry for engagement with difficult questions. They want to deal with other people and their ideas. To let that happen, what I needed to do was let go of my anxiety that the most important thing was to cover the material, and I needed to let students let go of the anxiety that their job is always to give the right answer.
Sometimes when I'm working in a classroom or I'm working with teachers, I actually channel Lucy, and I think of her favorite sayings, and one of them is, "How we play in this world is too black and white for my book." She also says, "I can say this because I'm out of the province." And I use both of those things quite often. The other thing I use is the obstacles to learning and our listening stumbling blocks, because as adult learners, if we can be honest and talk about those and get them right out on the table, the learning through the day goes way better and it's more meaningful. So thank you, Lucy.
Quite a journey over the last 3 years for us.
For me in the classroom, I was skeptical at first about this process. Changed the way I teach because it made it more about the kids learning based on what they heard from each other rather than what I was saying at the front of the classroom. So it's been a positive process for both of us. And
we've been so successful and found that students have been so engaged in talking with each other. I'd really like to thank you for all the time and effort that you put in to helping us become better teachers.
The students in my class love to do the turn and talk. It gives them an opportunity to share an idea that's just kind of floating in their head and they're desperately wanting to say it to another student.
Since the symposium, we've used Accountable Talk, and I've used Accountable Talk in my classroom, and it's allowed for more student voice to be heard and the student thinking more visible.
Really nice to actually have them kind of take ownership of their own learning and be up there discussing each other's ideas and making those connections.
There's been a lot more meaningful collaboration happening, and we're focusing more on the process of an answer and not the final answer and the end result.
The thing that's really nice about Accountable Talk is a lot of times I'm able to actually step a little bit back from the smartboard if we're having a discussion, and the students take right over. They come up, they share their ideas, they're bouncing off each other and making connections, and I can actually sit back sometimes with my students and kind of enjoy the debate that's going on right up there on the smartboard.
After starting with the diagnostic, I began by teaching my students active listening skills. Active listening skills, which are very important to the Accountable Talk process. Above the board, you will see a number of Accountable Talk sentence stems, which I have placed there for students to refer to. From there, these sentence stems went into their Kagan boxes. Each desk or each set of students has a Kagan box in which are placed a number of sentence stems. And all of these sentence stems, as you can see, have been categorized into different categories. So depending upon what is needed, they have them to refer to. From there, what we've done is we've gone to a large group setting in which all students become involved in an Accountable Talk. And as you can see, the sentence stems have been enlarged for them to use. They sit around these stems and they use them as a reference when we're using accountable talk. And what it does, Lucy, is it does make their thinking visible.
Hi, I'm Heather, and I'm a learning partner with the Upper Canada District School Board. Hi, Lucy. I just want to thank you so much for all your work with EOSDN. Personally, I've used your videos and all the learning from your website to help teachers learn about the power of talk and how important it is to deepen student thinking. I know that I can totally help other teachers change the culture of a classroom through talk. And as a final note, I just want to say that the best thing that I ever learned was that I don't have to have all the right answers, I just have to ask the right questions. Thanks, Lucy.
Talk moves have added to our classroom culture in that they allow students to express their understanding and make their mathematical reasoning visible. It has also allowed them, as they talk to each other, to learn from each other mathematically and to engage and focus them in the consolidation.
We're from Algonquin Lakeshore Catholic District School Board.
We have adapted Lucy West talk moves into our daily teaching practices.
Lucy West talk moves are becoming an integral part of our school culture. Would you agree that our goal of increasing student engagement has been successful?
Yes, I would agree that we are continuing to increase student engagement.
As students are more engaged and talk moves are being used consistently, we're finding that students are more naturally communicating their thinking and demonstrating a deeper understanding without fear.
Teachers aren't afraid to allow for wait time.
Can anyone repeat what Phil just said?